Back it up, back it in so I can begin.
Hello, how's it going, everybody?
How's it going?
Have you heard that yet, John? Have you heard that?
That intro?
That intro?
No. Yeah. What? Who put it together?
Well, my friend Aaron, the guy we were talking about just a couple minutes ago. He does fantastic work with videoing and thumbnails, and he actually does that for a living. He puts together. I'm going to butcher this, I'm sure, but he works for a company that takes care of. He does all the social stuff for like this fighting company that. Oh, right there he is. He can explain it better than I can. So he does all the video and stuff for some boxing pay-per-view stuff.
Okay.
Aaron, type it up what you do, and I'll put it up so we can talk about it. But I tell this story every time. Well, that's Marvin on there.
Okay.
Marvin, who overslept tonight and didn't get up in time for the show. So he's gonna wake up tomorrow and probably be mad at himself for not making it. So
and he's so knowledgeable about the Sandcrawler.
Yeah, he's the one who put together the shell that a couple of us have bought and built ours from. Yeah. So we wouldn't have had our Sandcrawlers if it wasn't for him.
Yeah,
so
that's him
tonight
at the end doing his rap.
Yes, there's a story behind that, but I just told it last night, and I don't think our viewers want to hear it. I've said it like 3 times, but it's a funny story. But so tonight is our Sandcrawler show. So we've done 2 other shows like this, John, where we take an individual model like the Sandcrawler, and we did the TIE Bomber, and we did the Slave One, and you were on it for Slave One. So we educate whoever is watching about each individual model, concept drawings, building it, and then filming miniatures, right? And this, as everybody probably knows, is probably my favorite, and I've been wanting to do this for a very long time, but I was waiting for mine to get done. And so we had, a bunch of pictures, and he actually, Aaron actually made this thumbnail. I'll put it up because I love what he does for these thumbnails. He took the original and spliced it together with a picture of mine, which is right in here. Wait, right here. But the problem is he didn't. I asked him. I was like, all the cool stuff is on the back and on the top. So, you take this picture and you got to have the hero shot with the cockpit up front, or else, I can't really show a thumbnail with it from the ass end. Yeah. And I said, is there a way we can put the kit parts on there somehow, like a picture of it in the corner or something? He's like, well, I don't know. I don't think that's going to look very well. But he came up with this and took it and ran with it and made it beautiful. I love this thing. Like, I love this picture alone because it shows the back, the top, and splicing this together. So kudos to him, Aaron, as always. I think
he does great work. Yeah, fantastic.
He really does. But so Sandcrawler, I don't even know how Sandcrawler became such an obsession with me. I built 4 little Randy Cooper kits, and then Marvin came up with the skeleton for this. How long ago was that, John? That was
it's going to be 6 years ago now.
6 years ago. Yeah, yeah, 6 or 7. And we have this Facebook group where everybody who bought one can go on and see all the IDs and help each other figure out how to build it, right? So I think like 20 people bought the kit from Marvin. He did all the measurements based off of kit parts, without actually building one first. He just measured it off, and it fits flawlessly. All the parts fit perfectly on this skeleton. But everybody who bought it never finished it, right? Like John
pretty much
has one.
Yeah.
It was in primer. That's as far as he got. Marvin's still building his. And then I bought one maybe 2 years ago, and I was determined. I had to have it done. So I think I was the first one to finish it, right? I was the last one to buy it and the first one to finish it.
There's a German chap that
George,
I think.
George, yeah, he built one. So I was second, and then there's one other guy who built one, and you, John, have finished. Well, besides the tracks, you finished yours recently as well. So that's 3, right? And Marvin, who
and Michael
came up with
James,
the first one. Michael James, yeah. Well, yeah, okay. You, me, Michael James, and George. So 4. And Marvin was the first one to come up with it and still hasn't finished his. So we give him shit all the time and try to get him to actually get off his butt and do it.
He gives us all these wonderful projects, and we all have all these Star Destroyer bridges and Cantwell T-16 Skyhoppers and Sandcrawlers that are all made by Marvin, but he never finishes his.
Yeah.
Yes. So, like I said, this one I've been waiting to do, and I've been wanting to do pretty badly. We actually are at the point where I have mine finished, except for the tracks. We're waiting for the metal tracks to come. They should be here in a month. So, let's dive in. Okay, so honestly, like when I originally was watching Star Wars, the Sandcrawler really didn't do much for me for some unknown reason. Like I don't even know. And I actually saw it at Celebration 3. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Okay. I actually saw it at Celebration 3 and took one picture of it. Okay. Didn't pay any attention to it whatsoever. I was too interested in finding 3 3/4 action figures than I was to see the actual models back then. And now if I saw the Sandcrawler, I would sit in front of it for like a whole day and just take a picture of every single part, right?
Yeah.
And hopefully one day, it'll be on somewhere in display and we'll be able to look at it, which is kind of this thing I miss a lot is that they don't really send out the models that much to, like, they sent it to Celebration 3 and they had the identities in Japan. And did they have they had a thing in Philadelphia too that I went to. And I don't remember that at all either.
Well, they didn't have it at the identities, did they? That wasn't there.
It was not in identities. And it's funny, identities kicked around for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Places, yeah. It was Japan, Singapore, that was at the tail end of it. But I went out and kind of did triage on identities in Tokyo, and it was right before COVID. But I don't remember the Sandcrawler wasn't there. There was a lot of the ships, Tatooine shuttle, Star Destroyer, Snowspeeder.
Yeah. And I remember, I didn't remember this, but I had taken my kids when they were really young to a showing in Philadelphia, of all places. And I totally forgot about it. They had the 5-foot Falcon there. And I didn't remember this whatsoever until like a month ago. My mom found some pictures in a file. And I'm like, oh my God, I was there with my kids and I don't even remember it. Like those ships were there. I don't even remember being there.
Was that the Where Science Meets Imagination tour?
I don't even know. It probably was, but like I can't even remember being there.
Yeah, because that one toured.
I see the pictures.
Yeah.
What's that?
That one toured for 7 years, and it was in that.
Oh.
So, and I don't know how many venues it was in. Yeah.
There's one in the UK, but I don't know if that was the same tour. And I'm kicking myself to this day still. My wife said, "Do you want to take the good camera, like a big digital DSLR?" And I was like, "Oh no, that's going to be a nuisance on the train." And I said, I've got my camera phone. Well, back then, this was before smartphones. This was a Nokia with the worst camera you could think of.
Yeah.
And everything was there. And I was like, oh my God, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't even remember seeing it. So, like, the only reason I even know I was there now is because my mom had a few pictures.
Interesting.
So,
It's funny.
okay, so
Yeah.
go ahead.
Well, it's funny. You can walk past that stuff and not be interested in it, and then a few years later, you're like dying for every bit of information you can get, and you had the opportunity, but at that point, you didn't care. And, well, it's funny. I snag pictures off the internet every day from Star Wars, and I will grab anything that comes up because I may not care right now, but in 5 years, I might be totally fixated on something, and I'll have something, you know. So try and save everything.
Yeah, do you, John, when you work on a project, do you take pictures as a work in progress for later on, or do you just get it done for a time frame?
I take more pictures these days because of the phones, you know, because it's so easy to do. And when I'm doing restoration work, progress photographs as I'm going along, so I get a lot of documentation that way.
Right.
But yeah, funny, back when we were doing the stuff at ILM, we weren't supposed to take pictures, and I regret that we didn't. But that was the policy. But thank God some people did, because a lot of the imagery you see is stuff that was unofficially taken. But thank God somebody took it, because otherwise it just disappears. You know, we have that problem now. You know, there was a question came up about Jawa sail barge, and I'm like, Mike Fulmer worked on it. Ira Keeler worked on it. They're both dead. Wesley Seeds, I think, did something on it. He's dead. You know, so they're Sean Casey and Charlie Bailey are still alive.
Yeah.
No, but a lot of people don't remember. And even I was talking to Steve Golly, and we were talking about Rocketeer, and I said, we had the 33-foot model of the Zeppelin that we blew up the first time. We built two of them. We only built one the first time, and it didn't work. So we had to build a second one with 3 shifts around the clock to get it done. But then we had a 12-footer, and none of us can remember who made it because it was done by somebody outside. Can't remember.
Right.
So there's a lot of this stuff that it's really easy for it to get lost.
Yeah.
Information-wise. So it's thank God some people took pictures.
They're gold dust to us.
Oh my God, gold dust! They're like heroin to us. Actually, they're not gold. My phone has more pictures of the Sandcrawler than anything else, and more pictures of models than my own kids and my wife. I won't ever tell them that, but like seriously, I feel bad. I when I'm looking through my phone pictures, I kind of turn it away from my wife because eventually she's going to see that and be like, there's way more pictures of damn models than my pictures of us. And it's not even close. I'm telling you, it's not even remotely close. But yeah, I save everything too, and I back it up on a hard drive, and I try to organize it, but it's just it's all over the place. It's in this file. It's in that file.
I don't understand how there's still pictures coming out of the original filming models that we haven't seen yet. They still pop up from now.
It's funny because some of that stuff pops up at auction. Like Greg Jean had a bunch of stuff, and these photographs turn up at auction. They start to circulate, but they're personal pictures and stuff like that. And as people are away or collections are being sold, there's more and more stuff coming out. There's a guy named Peter Noble, and there's a group on Facebook thing. It's like called MCA 57 Apogee, and he posts all these pictures of Battlestar Galactica and Buck Rogers, and a ton of pictures went to auction. He has been posting all these photographs of those models that I've never seen before.
Right.
It's like every day I'm checking to see has Peter Noble has he posted anything else, because the pictures are amazing.
Oh, I better check that group out then.
Yeah, there's stuff. So
so all right, well, let's jump on the Sandcrawler. Well, we got a lot to cover with this puppy. Let's basically start with this. Cantwell.
Oh yeah.
Right? Yeah, Cantwell. I hated this thing from when I first started. Like, I just looked at it and was like, that is just awful. Like, it did nothing for me. But now, completely the opposite. Like, I want to build one of these because I want to display it with my Sandcrawler. And it's got a lot of backstory to it. I don't know if you guys know any of the backstory. Like there was a whole Jason Eaton told me a bunch of things about like this was supposed to be like this was supposed God, I don't even remember anymore. Like they were supposed to get sucked into these Princess Leia and Luke, and they were supposed to get sucked to these and these. This part right here would go down. Like I think that cantilever's down. But there was a weird like whole story behind how this was going to be used in Star Wars. And you know, Eaton had said it could be just Cantwell coming up with this story, or you know, maybe it was something that was really there, you know.
Yeah.
Interesting, right?
But do you? I mean, how do you? I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think of this thing when you look at it? Like,
I'm thankful for every one of the models that Colin made, but they are so wildly different from what they ultimately. But they're such an interesting kind of starting point to see the initial concept stuff. But they're so different, you know. But it's such a different aesthetic because this has weathering and stuff like that. But you know, you look at his X-wing or Y-wing, they don't have weathering or anything like that. They're just these models. And then you look at the final look of, you know, the X-wing compared. His looked like a sports car. You know, it's the green, white, you know, and the
drag
real
racer.
beat to hell, you know, and so it's very interesting to see. And that drag racer thing, I mean, George was still kind of using that as a reference when we were doing the prequels. He would talk about that in the cars and stuff. So he really liked that idea as a foundational idea. But it's so interesting to see where the idea started and then these progressions of where it went. And like the Blockade Runner, that one really fascinates me, you know.
Yeah.
But this one, this is so different from ultimately what the Sandcrawler wound up being. But this is so reminiscent. And, you know, this is David Lynch's Dune. The spice, you know, the thing, the spice vehicle they've got, it reminds me a lot of that.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of
very, very much.
Star Wars ties into Dune pretty heavily. So, you know.
Well, one thing I know
I could see Cantwell stuff appearing in Star Wars now, in the Disney Star Wars era.
Yeah. They put the Star Destroyer in and, you know.
Yeah.
I think if there's anything they can shoehorn in there that kind of has some legitimacy to it, they'll do it. So,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I brought Aaron on to join us. Aaron,
hey
this is John Goodson. John Goodson, this is Aaron.
He's Chris messaged me and I'm already in my pajamas just watching you guys and had to change really quick, jump on here.
Took your lingerie off and then put a sweatshirt on?
Yep.
Yeah, well, I'm in my pajamas as well, Aaron, but it's a different time of the night for me.
Yeah, so this land speeder over here will never grow on me. Never, ever, ever. I can say
that now.
Sure. That's
you say that now. 2 years from now, you'll be like,
that's true.
It's right there. I didn't take pictures.
We need reference pictures of it.
Yeah.
I mean, this I've never seen. Like, I don't know, but I haven't. Has this ever been like on a tour or anything? Like have people seen this in person?
I've seen it in person, but just at the archives.
Okay, you've seen it.
Yeah.
I think that was at the. I think some Cantwell stuff where Science Meets Imagination tour, wasn't it? I think.
Okay.
It might have been.
Yeah, like I said, I was just into Hasbro figures back then, so I have no knowledge. Okay, so going from this, then we go to Macquarie's Sandcrawler, right?
Yeah.
Which is a lot closer to what we have now. And this is another piece. This piece I love. This piece, one day I want to build one. Like,
yeah. Who do you think came first with that design, Joe Johnson or Macquarie?
Macquarie, actually, well, this reminds me of a schematic I showed Chris that we found where they built the full size out in the desert, and the angles, it was actually sketched to fit that Macquarie's drawing, the one, the full size they built, and then they built the model
that's right,
after the fact to match those angles. So it was originally planned for the full size to be like that.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
Interesting.
I do remember you showing me that. I don't know where the heck it is though.
It's in one of my books. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, there's some original sketches of it. Is this looks like Macquarie work though, right? This is Macquarie's artwork. But then this was the painting that he did. I love this.
Yeah. You can almost identify kit parts on that actually, which is strange for a Macquarie sketch.
Well, here's the crazy thing, right?
And I mean that the ILM would have copied that painting, not the other way around.
Well, here's the crazy thing. Okay, so Macquarie's not going to just draw these kit parts up in his head. There had to be a physical model for him to look at and paint if the kit parts are exactly the same, right?
Yeah,
maybe. Never
we
seen
never know, do we? The chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did anybody see Jason Eaton built a version of the Macquarie one?
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
That's really cool.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I have it's one of those things where I saw all the pictures of Jason building it, and I saved every single one of them from.
Yep.
Because one day
I did a video yesterday looking at it with Michael. Yeah.
Yeah, Michael Hawes has it. He had it in his background because he knows how much I love it, and he wanted to rub it in. So yeah, badass. But so I just wonder how it goes from this, right, from this Macquarie to what it ended up being in the movies. Like, what was the reasoning for taking this and changing it? This is very similar, but
it's the version they built is simpler than that.
Oh yeah, okay, that'd probably be a good reason why.
Yeah, they probably took inspiration and then kind of built it the quickest way they could.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, there's the big exhaust pipes coming out the back there, isn't there? Stacked at the back, and other strange things on the right-hand side that's not on the original.
Yep. Easier box shape too, probably, because this is a lot of different angles on it. So we got some watchers. Let's see. In some ways, the Macquarie looks better to me. Yeah, I can understand why somebody would think that. It's a lot more detailed and a lot more intricate. There's a lot more cool things on it. Like on the side here, there's, I don't know what this is, but one day I'll have one.
You have to wait for Marvin to build a kit.
Yeah.
Well, I've talked to a couple people about building a kit, but Marvin's like, just build it. Don't wait for a kit. Just get some styrene and some wood and build it yourself. So that's what I'm going to do eventually one day.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What do you guys like? This isn't Macquarie though. This is closer to what is this Joe Johnston's sketch? Yeah.
Looks like it.
Yeah.
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 That looks more beefy, more sort of wide. And
yeah, the proportions are definitely different from what it wound up being, but it's very in the vein of the studio model.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because
go ahead.
Oh, Joe Johnston, I was talking to him and he said, and probably this information's out there, I know it is, but he said, you know why the orange and white paint's on there? And I said, no, and I always wondered. And he goes, because the backstory, he's my backstory, and he goes, and I don't tell anybody this, but he said that there was a company on Tatooine 200 years ago that was operating these, and it used to be orange and white. The whole areas were orange and white. It was like FedEx. And he said, but that company went bankrupt and the machines were left behind, and the Jawas took them over, and 200 years later, that's what's left of the paint.
That's brilliant.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Weren't we talking? Somebody I was talking to about that same thing said it'd be cool to paint a Sandcrawler orange and white.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do that.
Well, John,
but it's funny, you do the orange and white, and you look at the pod racers and all the crazy paint on those.
Mm-hmm.
Something kind of in the vein of some of that for like some logo on it. Be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Were you gonna
well,
say,
John, question for John. I mean, you've talked in the past, everything has a function when you're building it, but does your mind go through that for painting as well? Just how would this be? How is this used? How is it branded?
Yeah, sometimes it was funny because I remember the Federation landing ship, and I made the concept model for that one, and that's that thing that's got a double wing, and you see it descend down into the trees down on Naboo. And I did the paint job on it, and George referenced the paint job on the tuna ship, the Rebel transport ship.
Yeah.
So I kind of followed that as a guide. But then we painted the bigger model. It was 8 feet across, and it was a nightmare because we're doing all this stuff where the paint sort of interwove. It went under. You could see where it implies that different colors go underneath each other because they continue on the other side underneath different. But I had all these impact spots on the front of it where it had collided with micrometeors and stuff. And it's just kind of my little, like, what, this thing's had a bunch of stuff coming in, got all these little impact spots from that were all on the front of it. So, sometimes we actually think it through, but, and it's funny, when I was working on the Ares, the 2001 model, I was amazed how dirty that thing was. It had so much crap coming out of it. We were talking about it. I said, I wouldn't get in this thing. It looks great on film, but I wouldn't get it. But yeah.
Almost like the pirate ship in Skeleton Crew.
Well, it's funny, that ship, I painted that with a brush because they were like, it's been buried for 100 years. I'm like, buried for 100 years? Paint it with a brush, it'll add a little bit more of that rustic feel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
By the way,
like
John,
the inside's all busted up. All right, so concept drawings, like there's, we have the original Cantwell, Joe Johnston, and Macquarie. There's like 3 different versions of concept for this thing.
Yeah.
Which is cool because that will look cool lined up as a display. So one day. Anyway, so all right, so let's move on to them building the thing, right? And I have a few pictures of that. And
I hope you've got the Puma t-shirt that Lorne's wearing.
Which one?
The picture of him holding it at the back in grey primer.
I can find it. I don't know if I put that one aside. But here it's basically wood. Like the inside is wood, right?
Yeah.
It's plywood, basically.
Wood and steel.
Yeah. So steel, like what kind? Like is it like the frame? There's a frame inside that steel, or is it?
There's some framework in there. There's a tray for I think for about 2 car batteries.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
There's steel in the bottom of it for sure.
Okay.
And that's tread assemblies are attached to that and everything. Most of the upper part of it's plywood.
Yeah, this is like all just plywood and like this angle here. Oh, these angles threw us fits, didn't they, John? When we were doing the plating for this sucker. I don't know about you.
Again, sorry, Chris.
Trying to get these angles with the plating, drawing them up and then cutting them and trying to get them remotely close to what they're supposed to look like.
And even that whole front section, the way Marvin had it, it just sort of glues on, doesn't it? There's no interlocking sort of there's no dovetail or anything or any sort of screws. You had to sort of I had to push the crawler up against my bench and just jam the front on just to let the wood glue set overnight.
Yeah. I mean, this is just plywood. I mean, they just cut plywood and put it together, basically. So I mean, I've seen pictures where this lifts off and then the track system is one big metal frame, right? With batteries and capacitors and all of that wiring and stuff, right?
Yeah, I've never seen that taken off of it, and it's not apparent how you would do that. Okay. So I'm not sure about that. I mean, it may unbolt the whole thing lifts off, but I'm not sure about that.
It's a little crazy to me how it just shows you how big that is to the left of it. I've just noticed that piano key, the Death Star tile to the left. Yeah.
This one here?
Yeah, it's huge.
It is big. I can't get over how big the Sandcrawler is. When I see ours,
Yeah,
it's huge. Like it's massive. And
yeah.
when I first
We haven't
started
even got
building
the
it,
tracks on yet.
no, we haven't got the tracks on yet. Yeah, but it's interesting how they did, you know, all of these all this kit work here, right? Before they even plated the sucker. Okay. Um,
But that
and
looks like perspex almost at the back because it's see through.
this one here.
Well, it looks like
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah, it
Oh
is.
yeah, it does. Wow.
Yeah. sheet of acrylic. Yeah.
yeah,
They ran out of
That's
plywood.
crazy.
yeah.
Well, you know why it is? It's because it's thin. That back edge is thin, and that all that machinery and stuff is in there, but that wall thickness is 8 thin.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the non-hero side as well, isn't it? So
Yeah. Yeah, they're just starting to plate over here. And like you never see any pictures of all the kit parts in kit colors, like the yellows and the reds and the grays and stuff. You always see them all painted with primer.
yeah.
Well, they're not
And
painted
I wonder
here
if that
yet,
was, yeah, they are.
or is it just blown out because of the photograph?
No, this is definitely because these
No,
are
that's some-
white and this is
Yeah, that's in
yellow.
primer. 'Cause-
Okay.
That's definitely in primer. Like it's all one uniform color because these
Yeah.
are blacks. There's a lot of different colors there. Oh, here's the batteries. There's the batteries over here. There's a couple of them that
Yeah.
crazy.
I don't recognize that type of battery at all.
Well, batteries change a lot over the years. I mean, there's
Yeah,
that's the picture we just saw. We'll get to that painting picture then. And then like they built a complete replica of it, the base for the live action scenes. I mean, Jesus, that's almost exact, right?
yeah, that's so close.
How do you build something like that and make it exactly the same as the model? Like it's just crazy to me.
Well, it's funny. The UK, we would send stuff. They were sending stuff over from the very beginning on the first Star Wars on through, and they wanted me to make some concept stuff that they were going to replicate full size, and one of them was the Naboo submarine, and they replicated exactly. They scaled everything exactly, and it was kind of because some of the detail that's on the back part of the sub, you know, it was 60 thou styrene, and I kind of carved the shapes into where and plated it on. They reproduced the thickness, which really made the scale look screwed up.
Oh,
This wound up being 1.8 inches tall. I'm like, that wasn't really the idea, but they replicated it exactly.
Oh wow. Exactly.
Wow.
They are really good at doing that. Really good.
Look at this. They have just one set of tracks here with lights, and then just a stand over here with lights.
Lights.
The second set.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah, I wonder if that was on a trailer or something they could pull about.
Wow.
Well,
That's
or
pretty
they could have done a mat extension, you know, and the lights would actually be there, so they get the interactive light and everything off of it. They could have done a mat and take advantage of the actual lights being on.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, just a cast
Yeah.
on the ground. Yeah.
Yeah. Because this looks like the positioning for that shot where you see the whole thing against the starry sky.
It
This
does. Yeah.
like that up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they just left
Well,
this
not
here.
to mention if you're shooting from the opposite angle, you would still get that cast light on the front of the light that should be from the other side of the Sandcrawler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they abandoned
Pretty
this.
cool. I'm assuming, I'm sure they just left it there, right? They're not going to bring it back. This massive.
Didn't the authorities turn up to say, "What are you building?" Some sort of military
They
thing?
thought it was a tank or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This looks like it's on scaffolding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. I'd love to go over there and find a piece of
I've
this.
seen some recent posts of showing the backlot of Elstree and you know, Yoda's entire hut was just thrown out. Just, you know, a picture of it, just how much stuff was tossed out that we'd all love to go back and pick up.
Absolutely.
These are from the Chronicles book. You can see, you know, the kit parts in primer again.
Yeah.
Like they're done in primer. There must have been a reason for them to do that, because I have yet to see a picture of this thing with kit parts on it. I'm gonna have to find that.
The one thing that comes to mind is the primer that we used to use. It was Vinylite. Vinylite was one of them. But that primer, you could glue stuff to it. You could super glue to it, and you could, and so you could glue to it. And so it was really common, because I didn't come into the shop until '88. But it was really common to build something and prime it, and then add some more parts and prime it, because it's, when you're looking at all the different colors, you don't get that continuity. You're trying to look at the forms. So you had that luxury of being able to prime it, look at it, and go, let's add some more stuff up here, do that. And then the primer, the paints changed, the VOC compliance changed, and when the new stuff came out, you could not glue to it. The zap would just turn into goo.
Oh, wow.
We no longer can.
I was just going to ask if you can still do that, but nope.
No.
Well,
we look at kit parts a different way, don't we? Because we're replicating something, so we want we like all those colors. But as John said, they just want to see the functionality of it, and when it's lovely when you prime something, isn't it? It all just blends together,
night and day.
Yeah. And then like them starting to paint the thing, like.
How much did we try and work out what that flow quill bottle was when we were trying to figure out the color?
Chris sent me this picture multiple times saying, does that look like, can you zoom in that? Can you make that bigger?
Yeah. This is the white, right? This is the white they used.
Why'd you say, is that the sticker? I thought that was a sticker around it.
This here?
Yeah, not the paint color.
Oh, I don't know. Well, I mean, through the glass, it looks like white. Oh, okay. I see what you mean. The sticker's white, and then the paint color.
Yeah, it's got that gold top to it.
Yeah, that's a railroad color bottle. So there's the sticker, and then there's the paint's dark in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they need more than one little bottle of that stuff to paint this sucker.
So somebody's replicating railroad colors apparently in enamel. That's coming.
Yeah, we've seen. Well, they're doing the acrylics now. They did the enamels, but there's another company putting some out there that might be doing enamels.
Yeah, that's what
I like enamels better. Yeah.
I don't know.
I actually think this is black. This is black because they're spraying it here. It's already got the reddish brown. They probably misted it, and I don't know. They're probably. But
there's a cup. There's a cup to the left as well that looks like it's got black in it.
Oh yeah,
like
black
a mix.
in there. Yeah. I love this picture because, I mean, I figured this out on my own, but these little pipes that come off the back, the tips of them are painted white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just smiled because we're sitting here analyzing what's in that cup, what color that, and I was thinking of where, archaeology, looking at something in the past and just making up a story for it. And it's not at all close to what it really is.
Probably totally wrong. Yeah.
That's 75% of our whole hobby.
Exactly. More black. I love the color of this thing. This is just the reddish brown. Okay, so like it started as reddish brown, right? And they even painted this before they did the rest of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. We build it all, put it all together, and then paint the whole thing. We don't paint little parts of it and then build other parts of it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've just noticed there, Chris, the back tracks have got a cover plating over them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's not the same as the plating that ends up on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if there's a spacer that goes on before the styrene plate goes over.
Maybe. But like here, it's still styrene right here. It's still white. It's cool that they used Perspex for that. Wonder if Marvin figured that out before when he was building his.
Probably, but he's a stickler for keeping things in the same vein, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely clear. It's crazy. That's cool.
We've got a fifth person joining us.
Yeah.
We do. Whose cat? Is that yours, John?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's not Simmons' cat, the three-legged one?
No, you can hear that coming a mile off. Bonk, bonk, bonk.
Did you get it a prosthetic?
Oh, it's going to have a wheelchair soon, I think.
If you need money for a prosthetic, let me know.
Okay. Yeah, you've got a toe hanging about, haven't you?
John just ordered a fifth tread from the Sandcrawler from Marvin, so that's going to be for the cat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna show some pictures of my build with the kit parts because I want to show, like I said, almost all the pictures you can't see the kit parts, and they're freaking beautiful. Like I struggled painting this thing because I just love how it looked with all the different colors, especially the C lab. It just, I loved it, right?
I think yours is one of the very few that's actually got every single part is original styrene, not cast. I mean, mine's about 95% styrene, but you've got every single part on there is the original kit part. That's dedication.
Yeah, I had to have it that way. There's not a single cast on here.
No, John, that's called debt.
It's called stupidity, is what it is. Obsession, I think. Yeah. But
it was quite nice one year. Marvin had his Comic-Con with mine, and I think his was in primer and mine was in kit parts, so you could see both versions of it.
But it's something you don't see. Like there's no pictures. Not that I've seen. There might be somewhere, but like you said, John, they probably like you said, they probably did prime it and then looking at the form to get it to look better. Because when you look at this picture, right, you can't get real good idea of how it's going to look painted, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so, I don't know what the word is. There's just so many colors that take your eyes and focus on specific parts rather than the whole piece all together, right?
Yeah.
So, John, since you can't layer with the primer anymore, how do you approach that problem?
Well, some of the stuff I'll stick it on with weld on, so it's a solid, and that works. But just don't prime it till later. But I mean, if you're replicating something, you already know your forms are going to work and stuff. But yeah.
Well, Tamiya, you can stick to, and this one prime, your primer, right, John? What is it called? Halfrix?
Halfords, yeah.
Halfords.
Yeah, it's when you bond plastic, it just sort of melts through the primer.
Right.
But yeah, I like to primer it at the end just to sort of lay it all, have a sort of a final effect over it. It's lovely.
I took these pictures just so I could make a print of it and just like have it displayed with it, so you can see what it still looked like beforehand.
Yeah. The top of the FX tubs there, the engines where that what's the dome they used? It was the
Fruhoff.
Well, yeah, that's
Fruhoff,
it. Yeah. And then they replaced the right hand one with the Kawasaki brake disc, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I wonder why they had to replace that, because mine is I can sort of see why it must have come loose, because there's not much of a join around the jagged sort of edges. But that must have been banged or must have been driven. I think it was lost pretty early on, because the Kenner toy from '78 has that brake disc on it.
That's
so
funny.
I wonder if that's lying in the desert somewhere.
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Could
funny.
be.
There's a lot of damage. That's the left one. When we're looking at this picture, the one on the left side is the one that's the disc brake, but then also some of those details below it on that side were damaged and replaced with stuff that's not right.
Yeah, down here, down in here. Yeah.
Yep. So
under the hovercraft part.
And
Yeah.
this part here from, what is it, the Ferrari, the 112, well, a 112, I don't remember which Ferrari it was. And these chrome pieces were missing. Well, isn't this one? They were both gone, right, John? They were both like, and then half of this was broken. And one of these pipes here was gone as well.
There's a lot on the back that's gone as well.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of it was broken off.
And has all that been restored now?
Sorry, who's
Don't know.
speaking?
Oh, I just said, has all that been restored back to what it was?
Pretty much, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, you see them on that behind the scenes footage of them literally throwing gravel and dust at it while they're filming. So God knows what got broke off, physically on impact, let alone due to vibration and coming off.
Well, I heard a story that Lauren rode on it.
Yes, yeah, he sat on it. Yeah.
So yeah. It's like,
oh well, that's another thing. Yeah, I mean, I always thought that the Kawasaki brake disc came on the special editions, but they added loads of other parts on the on the side, didn't they, Chris? And on the front slanted section of the nose, they added some more parts. Yeah.
Now, John,
I love that picture of Lauren.
Are yours built sturdy enough to ride it?
No way. Aaron, come on, none of my stuff's built sturdy.
Mine rolled off of the freaking counter and landed on the top, and didn't lose a single kit part.
wow.
Seams came busted out, but it landed 4 feet. It went 4 feet down on the concrete. Well, like a quarter, like the half-inch foam, But almost lost my mind when that happened, John. Oh God, I thought I was gonna die. But
kit parts have a way of staying on and staying off, don't they? I've often put on a kit part that I know is correct, and it won't glue down. I'm like, come on, that's where you go. But I've often put one on that's incorrect, and I can't get it off to replace it.
Right, exactly. That's always what happens, John. Every single time. But yeah, this is like, I don't know. I just, we're showing how it was built as well, and we don't have original pictures of it being built, so it's close enough. I miss it in this form, to be honest with you. Like I love the paint job, but I miss this look.
I grew
And
attached
I'm totally
to mine being in primer, and it was daunting when I first had to paint it. But thanks to you guys, it looks like how it does now.
Yeah.
Did you take pictures of yours, John, in kit form?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, he's got lots of them. I'm totally convinced this color C-Lab on the side. Convinced. Like it's too close.
Yeah. I mean, mine still isn't finished, and I've had 2 kids since I started mine. So.
This is just that's me. This isn't finished on the real one, so I just couldn't. I couldn't leave it blank.
That plate that covers that is lying about somewhere, isn't it? Is that right? That's been seen, or there was pictures back in the day of it. It was made as a cover.
There was a cover at one point, but it's gone.
Right.
Mm. That's interesting.
Yeah, this is the area I like. I love that well.
You love this here. Is that what you're talking about, John?
No, one before.
The one up towards the cockpit.
This one.
That's at the top there.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Okay. It's crazy that they just And when I was building this, there were times where I thought to myself, like, these are totally different manufacturers, totally different ships, planes, whatever. But there were times where things just perfectly fit together for some unknown reason. Like, these guys were freaking brilliant. They were. Take these two parts.
It
it
wasn't just happening in the States at the time, was it? Because I'm building the Narcissus now, and I've got 99% finished with kit parts, and it's built by Martin Bauer and another gentleman from the UK, I think, and they're doing just the same work as ILM did, and there's only when did Alien come out? 79 or was it
79?
Yeah, and it's a close time period for them to do the same sort of things in two different countries. The film industry must have had that model making so close, and it's really interesting.
Well, 2001, they did tons of kit bashing on that.
Yeah.
In the UK, and Jerry Anderson stuff. There's the Far Side of the Sun, or there's something they did. It was like there's another planet or something, but they built a big rock. And Derek Meddings was involved in that. And you look at that, and there's a lot of aging and kit parts, all kinds of stuff. So it had been going on before Star Wars. It just really hit the mainstream when Star Wars came out.
Right.
Right.
I always get a shock when you do that, Chris.
What's that?
When you I always get a shock when you take the pictures off and our faces come back on.
Okay, let's just show some pictures of them filming it in
Tatooine.
Tatooine. Where did they actually?
Well, there is a
they
Tatooine
filmed this in California, right?
The Mojave, I think, is where they shot it.
Okay.
Wasn't that picture of Lorne on the roof of ILM?
That's the special edition.
Yeah.
That's up on top.
This one here.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was the reason for going up on a roof versus parking lot?
Unobstructed sky.
Got it.
Main stage about 40 feet high. Well, it was more than that, but there was a section of it that was the highest point, and so from up there, we took stuff up there.
No telephone lines or anything to deal with.
No, nothing.
Yeah.
We shot. They took like the plane, the trimotor for Temple of Doom. They shot that up there. We shot the Queen ship up there for Phantom Menace. We shot Ape City for the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes up there. It was the place to go for unobstructed sky.
Brilliant.
Cool.
Yeah, I remember trying to take pictures of mine in my backyard, and the trees were a pain in the ass. It just didn't work at all,
Well, I had my customers driving past me when I was laying on the floor trying to take pictures of the Sandcrawler. Trying to get that sky, that blue sky.
Anybody know what it was you were taking a picture of?
Oh yeah, they saw this big black blob that they didn't understand what it was, But yeah. But that goes talking about that roof shot, John. That's typical ILM. Just you think, well, where could we go to shoot this? And money needs to be spent to take it, and locations. Well, just go on the roof. It's a great idea.
We shot a lot of stuff in the parking lots too.
Yeah.
It was Last Crusade, the Pilatus crashing in the tunnel. That was out in the parking lot. They just took over a big section of the parking lot. The plane crash from Alive was done out in the parking lot. And then we had a field that we shot a lot of stuff in out there. And then they built a water tank out there for pirates. And so we had this big concrete slab. I think the concrete slab was poured for Pearl Harbor. And it was supposed to be temporary. And then they wound up keeping it. They turned it into a water tank. And it's still there, but it's all falling apart. But yeah, we shot a lot around there. We used to shoot at Hamilton Air Force Base. We shoot out there. We did like the Zeppelin explosion here and the Alive, the stuff where the plane was flying around. We shoot that out there again because we had an unobstructed skyline out there.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and that's on.
I was talking looking through pictures of it in Tatooine, and I'm looking at them, talking about them, and I didn't have it up on the screen. I was talking about it, but you guys couldn't see him. Yeah. I wonder if they still have the remote for it.
I don't know. It's, they rewired.
I wonder if it's still possible to drive it.
Yeah, well, special edition, it worked for that. But they rewired it. They put in new speed controls and a bunch of other stuff for it. So it got a big upgrade during that. That's 25, 26 years ago.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's the scene I've seen footage of them hurling gravel at it and stone and sand to try and get that dusty look.
John, if you look, here's some wet sand down here. That's what we talked about.
Oh, yeah.
They drove right through there, and that's where all the splashes came from. That I'm desperately trying to figure out how to replicate.
It looks so small.
It does, doesn't it?
And that image is flipped.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because that's the hero side, and it should be the other way around.
Oh, yeah. Didn't even notice that.
That takes an editor's eye. Yeah.
Well, as I'm cataloging all the photos, a lot of photos, sometimes the badge is over here, so I noticed that stuff that I need.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So this is the doctored picture.
They would flip them, wouldn't they, for books and stuff, just to make it look better on the page, perhaps. And that's what
Chris, I actually sent you, I think, that same photo in a higher resolution just now.
Okay, let me see if I can bring it up.
Maybe not that much higher resolution, but it's the proper orientation.
Let's see here.
It's not a big
things around.
When I first started building mine, I thought it was going to be just 116 Tamiya RC Sherman's running it. But now, looking at how much they've been modified, I'm so glad that Felix and Marvin have redesigned it so we can have it done for us.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, okay. Now I understand why it's okay. Now I understand. Let's move this one and share this one.
So, John, when are you going to start building your own Sandcrawler?
Me?
Yeah.
I would have a half-assed version compared to what you guys are doing, because I bought 4 of those Henglong Sherman tanks, gosh, 6-7 years ago, and then I bought some of the metal treads not too long ago, and bit by bit I've been accumulating stuff, but I don't have a formal plan, but I got bits and pieces. So
we can help you with that.
Yeah.
Well, is anybody in the group using the long stuff, or is everybody using the Tamiya?
Tamiya.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's just to muddy the waters even more, there's 2 types of the vintage Tamiya.
Of course, there are.
Yeah, with the different.
There's like 3 types, isn't there?
Oh God.
Possibly,
yeah. You want the smaller nubs on the wheel tread, the spokes. You want the smaller ones, sprockets. Yeah. I don't know the name of the tank parts, but now I see what you mean. It's reversed. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go back to the pictures I was showing, which would be these. And then we'll show these, and then we'll get to the actual filming, like close-ups of the actual piece. Like, I think these are really cool pictures. Oh, I'm doing it again. I'm showing it, but not presenting it. Dumbass.
We're all waiting.
God. Dummy. I like these pictures because it shows, like, I don't know.
It's like a day at the beach and they've taken the Sandcrawler out. It's like they're.
That'd be a fun thing to display with your Sandcrawlers. Have a remote next to it.
Yeah, we got a. There must be a 1970s RC remote that's similar to that.
Yeah.
I'm sure they cobble their own together, right?
Wow.
These are some great photos.
Yeah, that one's really interesting.
This is from the Sculpting the Galaxy DVD.
Oh, the one that Lorne commentates over, narrates.
Did the DVD only come with like a better version of the book? Because I have the book, but I don't think I never got a DVD with it.
The DVD has there was an edition that came with some Death Star tiles, I think, and a little land speeder.
Okay, that one.
And and a DVD. But you can find the DVD on YouTube, I think.
That's not a good position for the antenna.
Who is that driving that, John?
I don't know. It's funny.
He's barefoot.
You know, you see these pictures and know these guys now, and you can't connect the dots with what they look like now and what they look like back then.
Yeah, they all look like the same person.
Yeah, well, I remember
They
reading in People magazine. There was this thing. It was an article about when Star Wars first came out. It had 3PO on the cover, and it talked about how George Lucas had formed this special effects company. All these young people had all these amazing ideas. And when I got to ILM, I remember sitting in the screening room. And it was a bunch of gleaming bald heads. What?
Because they never slept. They've been working too much.
Yeah,
and it was the drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Measured on the scale.
Exactly. God, it just looks so tiny there. It looks so.
it does. Yeah.
When I look at mine, sometimes I think I painted it maybe a little too dark, but then I see pictures like this and I'm like, yeah, no, I didn't.
Yeah, and that's in full sun.
Yeah, that's in full. Yeah. Because you look at the pictures that I'm going to show now, like this is what yours and I look like right now, right, John?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because of the black. But the ones with all the flash, those are the ones that everybody thinks are the real, what it really looks like in person, but that's not true because it's all flash.
The flash shows the details and splatters in lovely definition, but completely screws the color of it.
Yeah. I mean, that looks almost just red, right? And it makes this yellow orange.
Yeah, a lot of and those streaks were very difficult to replicate because one picture would say something and one picture would say another. It's trying to find a fine balance between the two.
Now, here's something. Have you guys, either of you guys, tried to take flash photography of your sandcrawlers to see if they match?
No, I haven't actually.
No. I'll do that when I get home.
Yeah.
Here's the wet sand staining that I feel was just splashes from when they were driving around, right?
Possibly.
I'm dying to try to replicate these little sandy looking splashes on them. Like I haven't done that yet. I'm gonna do that when
I think I'm still gonna have watered down pigment, I think.
Yeah, well, I think that's the only way we're gonna be able to do it.
And flick it off with like a toothbrush.
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to gluing every single one of those tracks on.
Yeah, that's gonna be a bastard.
4 times.
4?
You think,
Wait, is it 4?
We're done on the crawler, Chris? Yet we haven't even started with those tracks.
8 times. 8 times.
8 times.
Yeah.
Yes, 8 times. And we still haven't ID'd everything in the middle here yet. Like we're close, but not completely.
Yeah.
Still got to get back on that. I started looking at it and got a few, but not a whole lot.
I think Jason Eaton's got one of those tracks, hasn't he?
No, he has the forms for the injection molds.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like here, like I don't know if that's like sandy spray or what is it. And what I also want to know is these little light bulbs, do they light up? Have they ever lit up? Have they ever shown is there a picture of them lit up? Lit
Yeah,
up?
there's quite a lot on the back. There's like 4, isn't there, on one side?
Yeah,
There's a
I
lot.
can't see them on.
No.
It doesn't mean they're not there. But
Have you included them, Chris?
What, John?
Have you included those light bulbs on yours?
No, I'm debating whether I want to or not.
Because you have to
I
drill for an
wonder
actual
if,
kit part.
yeah, I wonder if
And-
they were there originally when it was built.
Yeah.
What, you're thinking it's a later edition for special edition or something?
I don't know. I haven't drawn a conclusion at all. I'm just curious.
There's such an odd placement too. It doesn't feel like it's
Yeah,
like they're
Yeah.
just
Look
kind
at
of
this
sticking
one
out
here.
randomly.
they stick out right there, right? And then there's some
right, for the ethics.
one here on each side, right? So 4
There's
of them in each one of these.
well, there's some that are down lower, I think, on the back, and there's some that are on the face plates in the treads. There's some on there.
Oh,
Right.
really?
Yeah.
I never noticed those. Yeah, here's some here, right?
Yeah.
Are all of these? Are those? No, that's a light, but that looks like some kind of paint over here, right? But that's a light.
And Chris,
That's a
with
light.
that,
There's a hole
look
for a
to the-
light.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. There's a hole there with one missing,
Yeah.
and
Point to
they're
it.
very asymmetrical.
Yeah.
Is this like, I'm seeing this quite pixelated. Can you guys see this in high res?
It's a
Yeah.
little pixelated for me too.
Oh, there you go.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Then
It's
so
when
it
it's
mine?
when you're
Is
moving
it-
around.
is
Once
it-
you
Yeah, it's
sit
caught up
still,
now.
it clears up.
Oh, when I move it. It's that damn freaking hotel internet.
Yeah.
John, we're on the same coast. I'm on the same coast as you right now.
Which John?
You're definitely
You-
not me.
Nope, definitely not Simmons. I'm over in Seattle right now. I'm on the same time zone as you.
Oh. What are you doing in Seattle?
Work
Oh.
tomorrow.
These are beautiful, these pictures. I could look at these all day. And I have done. We've spent so long looking at these, haven't we, Chris?
I know. I've looked at these laying next to my half naked wife. Look at these instead.
Oh, terrible.
TMI.
Yeah. Here's more. Here's more. Like this one's just sticking up out of nowhere, and man, absolutely.
Have you started yours, Aaron?
I just talked with Chris about it today. I started measurements on the side panel, and I'm taking the photos and placing them two-dimensionally on it for me to trace them all out, all the paneling.
Right.
And Chris had the good idea to print it on sticker paper so that I can just lay it over top of it and just cut her out.
Yeah. Yeah, I could just go through these pictures and just look at the pictures and not talk, right?
Absolutely. That non-hero side's always interested me. That lack of plate work on the head there.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that. I love it when it's half finished and just done quickly, for necessity.
I'm
Did you
curious
do
though.
yours that way, John?
Pardon?
Did you do yours that way?
Yeah.
Without it being
Yeah.
finished? Okay.
Yeah. I
I
did all
did
those little
not.
scratches as well on it.
Now, are those scratches or are they pencil marks?
I think I use both pencil and scratches, I think.
Like here.
And at the back of the window.
Yeah, there's scratches there. But I wonder if this is something written or scribbled.
I think I did the best I could with the pencil, but
I didn't do that.
there's
The
some
heroes,
damage
everything
there.
that was. Yeah, this looks like it was dropped on it. And also, I mean, I don't know, but if you look at these windows, it looks like it was okay. So when I dropped mine on the top, all of these windows smashed because the top slopes up, right? So if it lands on its top, the first thing it's going to hit is this front cockpit area, and there's no support there. So on impact, the only thing that broke on mine were those windows. I had to completely replace them. And it looks like these were replaced and damaged at some point because some of them are missing, some of them are crooked. Like, I feel like this was probably dropped on its top as well, you know?
Don't forget, Lauren sat on it.
I was just going to say that.
Yes. Yes, he did. But yeah, it's not a good day at the household.
See, that top hasn't got much going on, has it? In paint wise.
No.
But all these pictures, I mean, that staining and glue marks, if they are, to the bottom of the screen, I've tried to add those, but they only pop up in flash photography.
Mm-hmm.
It's a strange.
So looking at mine, all around the outside is a lot of cool coloring and staining and streaking and stuff. And then when I painted the top, I almost felt like it wasn't finished because there's almost nothing up there, right?
Yep. And you don't see the top in the movie, so
no.
Maybe they spent all that time kit bashing it, and then perhaps thought, well, maybe it's not going to get filmed.
And John, remember how long it took us? See this one's missing here, and see how bent that one is?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Bent there. This one was glued back in. It's actually a different color than the rest.
Yeah. And there's damage to the top left as well.
Yeah. Remember how long we were trying to figure out what this piece was, Simmons?
Yeah.
Oh, it was driving us nuts.
It's just like you've pointed out, every single one of them is not flush with the exterior. Whereas if you look at the ones on the left, on the side, they're perfectly flush. They blend.
Yeah.
They blend. Yeah.
Yep.
I love how that cockpit interior is shoved over to the one side, to the left.
Marvin hates that.
Yeah.
John, Marvin actually, what he did is he moved this to the center so it was symmetrical because it bothered him so much that it wasn't symmetrical, and added parts in the middle to make it extend. He added, what was that? The Akagi part in the middle there? No, the Akagi's on the outside. What's the one in the middle? I forget.
I think isn't part of Akagi.
It's not the Yamato, is it?
Yeah. Yeah, the outside here are the Akagi, but the middle part, I forget what that part is. But he added another one of these so that it took up the whole.
It was a Lacine, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Lacine. Yeah, it was Lacine. And we actually talked him out of doing that. He's going to fix it and change it so that it's more accurate because we just gave him so much shit about, not doing it the correct way.
Yeah, but he gave us this Sandcrawler to work on. He measured it meticulously with every kit part. And
yeah, but he can't do that because then for the rest of your life you can just say, yours isn't accurate. It's no good.
Yeah, and then he ends up moving.
Yep.
I coloured those three on the engines at the top. That F1 engines. There's those three bright. Yeah. See those tabs.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, I just coloured mine in solidly with pencil to get that effect.
Oh, I didn't do that. I'm gonna do that. I did not do that.
Are yours just uniform, Chris?
They're just painted.
Yeah, Chris's model is inaccurate.
Yep.
Mine's accurate. It's completely inaccurate.
Throw it in the garbage.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. This part gave me fits. Putting this together
Yeah.
with the panther parts underneath here, and I was like, how the heck did they do this? It was very awkward.
Was it Lorne building it alone, John? Do you know?
I don't know. I would doubt that it would just be Lorne. I mean, generally there are teams of people working on this stuff, but I don't know how many model makers they had on the first film, but Paul and Joe are painting it.
Yeah.
Working on it. I'll ask Steve, see if he remembers.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's my camera or my damn internet. Can you guys see these pictures okay though? I don't want the video to be.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, you're blurry, but that's a good thing.
That is a good thing. That's very, very, you're not wrong there, John.
And all that chipping is topically applied, isn't it? That's done with a brush.
Yeah.
Which is
it yellow still? Is it yellowish still, or is it kind of more orange?
And it's orange, actual model.
Yeah.
It's almost like FedEx orange.
Okay. Yeah, this is the part that drove me nuts right here. Putting this part together and getting these lined up. These things not working. I'm still blurry. That's odd. That's okay. So yeah, I mean, like this, I got hundreds of pictures of this. It looks so different in different flashes too. Like you see, this looks like a bronze color. This looks like I don't know, like light brown. It takes on so many different forms.
It does.
And who was it, John Simmons? Wasn't there somebody who made a comment about yours, and they're like, "Why'd you paint it like that? It's not." What was that about? There was. Do you remember that?
No.
And he was like, there was somebody who did that, was blasting your paint job because it wasn't it was inaccurate. Oh, it was the yellow. It was the orange, right?
It might have been, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think we used a colour match float. I can't remember now. What did we do? We SP Daylight Red and Reef Orange mixed together, I think, wasn't it?
No, what I did was I mixed a little bit of orange with the yellow SP.
Oh, and then you
the
misted
yellow
boxcar over it. That's right.
Yeah, I used thin down boxcar and filtered over top of it.
Yeah.
And that I used that boxcar filtered, thin down to do all this too.
Oh, I love that rust streaking.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
Mm-hmm.
It is. And the drips down here. Yeah. I'm dying to see this thing in person one day. One day. Gotta see it.
Well, that goes back to this how we said at the start. I think we have, Chris, but we just didn't take any notice of it. It's infuriating.
Yeah, I know.
It was that Science of Imagination where it was on that.
Yeah.
With
Was it?
Sandcrawler was in there too.
Man.
And like you see the bits of paint where that's the kit parts have broken off on the side of the Sat V part on top. Chris, you scroll up.
Yeah, here. And
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's all the broken parts that
Yeah.
that you had mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this was this here is broken on this side. It's a Lotus. That's right. It's a 112 Lotus.
Yeah, and the other part,
And
they're
these-
Kentworth parts, aren't they? They're Kentworth parts on the round tubes that popped off on the front of the Airfix Sat V.
What do you say?
The tube that's missing.
These.
Yeah.
Yep, right here. And this is different.
Kentworth.
This isn't correct. They just stuck stuff on there.
Yeah.
So what you should have done on yours is make some of these parts magnetic so you can switch them up so it can be accurate to the period you want.
Well, what I did do is I left these not glued on. So I don't have this part yet, but I can actually take it off and put this on if I want to, you know?
Yeah.
It's just setting in there.
You did that too, John, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like you have to, because you have to paint inside of these. Otherwise you just have a very bright white in there, right?
Yeah. Oh, Chris, I think what that comment you mentioned was that chap said, you've done all this detail work and you've not made it accurate. And
right.
And I said,
what was it?
I spent
that
6 years of my life trying to get this accurate.
What was the part he was saying wasn't accurate? I think it was the orange, right?
Because I didn't have the Kawasaki part on, I think.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's what it was. The Kawasaki part. We both talked about it. We were like, oh my God. Like, some people should think before they talk.
Yeah.
That's what my wife tells me all the time. So
I'm curious what the concept was for painting the tips of the engines white. Like, was that supposed to be like the heat burnt away the paint, so it's the metal underneath?
I don't know, but it's
typically you think it'd be like black with soot, you know.
It just it separates them, doesn't it? It's more a functionality thing, I think, isn't it? Because you want to show that black soot underneath it shooting out, but then the top of it, you don't want it just brown. You want it separated.
Yeah, I love this orangish like spotting. That's one of my favorite parts about the whole back.
Yeah, and that's
there's like a light gray underneath it. Yeah, and then they painted these C-Lab hatches on both sides too.
Yeah. Guys, I will just warn you that my family's all starting to wake up now and coming into my kitchen. So.
All right. Well, I think we're pretty good. We pretty much went through mostly everything that we could think of, unless there's something else that you guys. I love the streaking. I've got it.
That streaking's gorgeous. Yeah.
But Sandcrawler, one of the better. I don't know if it's, to me, it's like, it's almost Falconish. Like, I don't know. It ranks up there with Slave One and Falcon as one of the key pieces that mean more to me than there's a thumbprint there, probably. Right?
Possibly, yeah.
Somebody glued their finger to it. Yeah. Yep.
Don't find more stuff that we haven't done yet, Chris.
Yeah, it's probably that plate.
Yeah, you guys got to add it to yours.
Yep. I got to put glue on my finger and put it up against. But yeah, Sandcrawler. Awesome piece. God, I love having it in my collection. I've got to see the original sometime before I die. But yeah. All right. Well, I guess that's a good place for us to stop. I think we gave a little bit of education on it. Hopefully everybody enjoyed. You know, it was a good show. Thank you for joining us, John. Really appreciate you hopping on.
Yeah.
I know you're busy. Yeah. And we're going to do, I don't know what the next ship is going to be. I think we were talking about Y-Wing. Maybe we'll do an X-Wing. TIE Fighter, we haven't done those. Those are probably the next 3 that we're going to do. Yeah. Any last thoughts?
No, I just want to thank John again for coming on, and Aaron and you for setting it up. And yeah, I enjoyed getting up at 4 a.m. again.
Hey, it's 2 a.m. here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I get to actually sleep in tomorrow. I don't have to do anything. It's only not, what, 11 here, right? Quarter to 11. Yep.
Quarter to 11.
Yep. But yeah. Good show, guys. Hopefully everybody enjoyed it. And we will be back next week sometime. We'll do something. I'd like to keep this a little bit more consistent now that I've figured out the whole job situation, and I'm not going to let them overtake my modeling. Screw it.
Yeah.
But all right. Well, that's a good place to stop. And thanks everybody for joining. And we'll see you next time.
See you later on.
See ya.
Bye.